Hey there, good morning. I was going to do some more auction prep work this morning and thought I would go live with some of what I'm working on. I'll go ahead and share that with you. All right, so I'm basically on the last page for Heritage, and started. I'm up to Spectacular Spider-Man. If there aren't too many books, maybe I'll jump into DC or Independence or something. But if you're here, good morning. Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead and drop something in the chat if you'd like. Go ahead and get to it. So, if you're not familiar with Heritage Auctions, basically what I do is I participate in the Sunday Monday comic books select auction, which is right here. If you can't find these, you typically have to scroll down and go to load more until they appear. They try and highlight some of these other featured auctions, and the select auction is sometimes buried. All right, let me make sure, boost this up so we can see it. There we go. And typically what I do is, there's so many books, is I just start with Marvel, and then I see how far I can get. So here's Marvel. There's 414 books in this auction. And like I said, I think I am, where's the page? I think I'm on page 3. Sorry, don't get sick from the scrolling. Let me check page 2. So 19634 was the last auction I added. Yeah. So actually, I'm still in the middle of page 2. I apologize. Okay. One thing I need to do, my alert keeps showing that I got to fix my thumbnail. Still a YouTube noob. Showing the wrong thumbnail on the alert. This is not a comic book screening. This is a Heritage auction prep. So this was the last book I looked at. Spectacular Spider-Man 200. I love this cover. Sal Buscema cover from 1993. It's got that foil stuff. This is a book I'm tracking. It's susceptible to scratching and other things. So, I'm looking at my stream details. Stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended bit rate. I don't know if I can change that right now. Streaming service recommendations. I don't know. If the playback on the live stream looks a little choppy or funky, just drop me a note in the chat. So I'm going to keep going here. Here's Spider-Man #1. This is the silver edition. There's lots of these. It's a 9.8 white pages. Let me just take a look and see what that's going for. So I use GPA. And what I'll do is I'll jump in here. This one's going to be fun to find. Again, don't get sick from the scrolling. Just close your eyes or look away when I do that. So I'm looking for Spider-Man. This one. No, I had it starred. Could have just gone directly to it. Okay, issue 1. And what is this silver one going for? So this is a book. This is interesting because this is a, there's plenty of this book here. I mean, you can even get a 9.8 silver signed by Stan Lee for $600 if you want. Looking for the 9.8. Was it platinum or silver? It was silver. 9.8. 9.9 silver. Did I skip it? Signature series. Oh my gosh. 9.8. There we go. 9.8 silver. 116.90 day. $103 last sold. I'm going to track it and just use it as an example. I did update my formulas here. So the way that I work this is I clone the previous record, and then what I do is come in here and blow up this auction in a new tab. And again, I'm looking for things like wrapping and centering, and this book looks pretty decent, looks pretty nice. So I don't really see any issues to be concerned with, but I'll grab the URL, paste it in here. It is a 9.8 with white pages. And I grab the description just so I can see it quickly for reference in my spreadsheet. So right here, drop it in. So you see the lot number automatically updated. So I don't have to, those are the only two steps I really have to take from Heritage. And then I have to decide what is the designated GPA value for this book. So in this case, I'm going to give it 116. There were 90 sales of this in a 9.8 silver in the last 90 days. So that's not 90 for 90-day average. That's 90 sales. So no shortage of this book for sure. Last sold for 103. So even though it's trending up, the last sale was actually less. Let's take a look at the details. So this book has been really steady, really steady. I don't know what happened here. Something jumped up in here, but really steady. Not a book that you're gonna make a lot of money off of if you're looking at flipping. Had a high sale of 223. Again, look at the volume. Low sale, $50. So again, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to get it on the low. Obviously, we want to pay less, so we'll track it here. I'll go ahead and give it that 116. That's a lot of data there to give it an average, but certainly understanding that it's dropping, or at least from a low sale. You could see the curve here trending down just slightly. I mean, back here, let's look. Average price 68, 71, 74. I know 2020 is a lifetime ago, but still. So, did I say 116? Sorry, I'm jumping around. 116 is what I'll give GPA. And I fixed these formulas. For whatever reason, before, whatever formula I was using, the bid max sometimes was less than my target, which is not what you want. So now the numbers look more even. The only thing that I would say is a little different is depending on how close you are to the minimum for Heritage, the buyer's premium is not always a flat 20%. Sometimes it's if 20%, it has to be like $100 or more. So if it's less than that, the minimum is $19. So if you bought something at auction for $10, they're going to charge you 29 and not 12. So just keep that in mind when you see these numbers jumping around. So my pre-bid would be $27, $28, and right now it is above that at 31. So I'm simply going to track this item. It's probably going to ask me to sign in. So I'm going to track that item, and what that does is it adds a little bit of an alert once I enter the live auction to let me know that an item that I was tracking is coming up. My target here is $68, which would put me at a buyer's premium of $87. So again, $87, much less than that 116, and even 87 is down from that 103, that last sale. So a book that I would like to have, book of the 90s, Todd McFarlane. So we know this book, but would really like that silver edition to put on the wall. And I'd be happy and comfortable paying $87 for this book when the 90-day average is 116, and even the last sale 103. 87 is still obviously less. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm looking for those. And when this bid shoots up 70, 80, $90, obviously it's getting over the max, and I drop out, move on to the next. And to me, it's worth spending my time doing this, and it's worth spending my time entering the auction. There's going to be a couple thousand books probably, or a few thousand books in this auction. I'm looking to walk away with one or two books. So it can be tedious, but if you're prepared and you do your homework, you're able to, again, I don't want to say snipe, but you're able to get in there, and when there's bidder fatigue, you just drop in and grab a book at 50 or 60% GPA. Spider-Woman #1, probably going to be out of my range, but here's a 9.6 white pages. I love the white pages designation. Presentation on this one looks pretty good. So I want to just take a look and see what a 9.6 is going for. I have this book raw, but it's mid-grade. Spider-Woman. Spider-Woman from 1978. Nice Bronze Age book. So let's see, a 9.8, 526, 50 sales. So again, not a rare book. 9.6, 49 sales. Again, look at these 90-day average. So 90-day average trending up, but last sold this month for less. So is the market crashing? Market's not crashing. Is it dipping a little bit? Maybe. I mean, everybody pays attention to the high, the holy grails, those high keys, but you know, you're seeing these Bronze Age books dip here, $10-20. Interesting. So again, would I possibly want to snipe this book at maybe 120? Possibly. Let's take a look. So again, the process, going to clone this record, grab the URL. And again, if you missed it before, you can see this lot number in column A. That will automatically shift for me to the lot number. And the lot number is important because that's all Heritage will show you. They'll say lot number 123 is coming up, and you've got to scramble and figure out what that is. So that's an important value when you're tracking these. So this is 9.6. And then the GPA on this one, in a 9.6, is 195, last sold 170. So I might want to put this in the notes, last sold 170, just so I can see it as a reference. And I think this one last sold was 103. So I can just see that, again, the average is showing that, you know, the 90-day average, we're seeing these books still trending up on average, but I'm just trying to make note, like, hey, there was a slight dip this month from the 90-day average. Something to pay attention to. So I'm not going to get in a bidding war for these books, is what I'm saying. There's plenty of copies of these. So it's just something you have to be mindful of. You got to think, you know, you don't want to get into a Heritage bidding war. And frankly, looking at some of the recent video game stuff over the last month, talking about shill bidding and everything like that, I don't want to get into that right now, but it's just, you just don't want to get into it where you're FOMOing and you're bidding in that regard. You want to have the data. All right, Star Wars #1. Let's see, this is over my left shoulder. I just got a copy from Heritage, in fact. I have an unboxing video. Really, really happy with this. This is a 7.5 off-white and paid a very good price, much less than the fair market value, and wanted to have that copy. And going kind of back to sort of how I'm looking at real estate, we would always joke, we would say, take possession of the property, right? And hold on one second. Sorry, just responding to a chat here. Take possession. So with real estate, if you're concerned about some aspect of the deal, or you're worried about price or something like that, but you have this gut feeling like this is the property that I want to own, If the things are lining up for you, and maybe the price is a little bit slightly higher, slightly lower, or there's some piece of negotiation that you're having to deal with, excuse me, you want to take possession. You want to find a way to take possession of it and then deal with either upgrades or renovation or something else after the fact. So in my opinion, kind of with comics, it's in a similar way. If you believe in a book for whatever reason, either from a speculation perspective or from a nostalgic collecting perspective, I say take possession. So in the case of what I did was, where's my finger? There we go. In a case of that book right there, that's Star Wars #1, I wanted to have it in my price range, and I jumped on it because I got a good deal from the auction closing and based on my numbers and my statistics, and I wanted to take possession of the book. So it was a long explanation to basically tell you that I would like to upgrade it, but I wanted to secure my copy now, just in case. Now, this is something I would look to upgrade to. So here's an 8.5 white pages. Clearly better than a 7.5 off, but you have to factor in fair market value and what you paid for it. The other thing with this one is, I'm not going to bid on this one, I'm a stickler for the wrapping. So even though this is technically graded as an 8.5 white pages, this angled wrapping, and you can see it on the back probably, maybe not. Well, you could still just see the angle. The front cover didn't wrap around because the back is obviously wrapping around the front. This is a presentation problem for me. It's also slightly shifted, it looks like, in the slab, or is it? It's just an illusion from the cover being off center. I prefer my copy over this one for the presentation's sake. So that's that. I'm not going to upgrade to this. If this was a perfectly wrapped book, I would consider paying for this one and then selling the 7.5. But for now, that's not a copy I'm interested in. So here's another one, 9.6 white pages. This is a cool book with Jackson on the cover. And I like that it's that single digit. So let me just bookmark that. Let's go to Star Wars and see what these are going for. So I will target these in a 9.6 white. Star Wars 1977. This was issue number 8. All right, in a 9.8, $467 trending down. 9.6, 181 trending up, and the last sale was actually higher. Interesting. So let's look. 26 sales in 2021, high of 300, low of 113. Last year, the low was 36. Very interesting. Look at this, like consistently way under 100 in the low, and even the high, sitting here 120. And then all of a sudden, boom, this takes off. Look at this, August 216. Looks like a handful, 5 in July. This one, 260. Again, is this a white page premium sort of sale? I don't want to waste your time too much and go through each of these sales. So I'll track it just in case it drops. And I'm looking at that current bid sitting at $21, and that's appealing as well. So I'm a Star Wars nut, so I'm going to look at these. I just pasted the URL. Then I'll come and grab the description. First appearance of Jackson, that's really why you want this book. If you're into this, anyway, I should say. So 9.6. I'm not going to note that the last sale was higher because I I don't FOMO on this anyway. So 9.6, I'm just going to put 181. I don't care about that 216 in terms of making a note of it. So GPA 181. So my pre-bid would be 42. My target would be $100, which would give me this book at 127, which falls more in line with, I would say, your average typical sale. I mean, if you're looking at these 175, 156, 113, 150. So to get this book 120, 130, that would be nice. I would like that. So those are the kind of things. Of course, this isn't just like a buy low scheme. It's about following the auction live and watching when one of these books slips. The nice thing about heritage auctions is it's an auction. A lot of what's on eBay is buy it now or negotiating offers. Yes, there are auctions there, obviously, but you can't just find all of these books at auction, all closing around the same time. It's that's why I look at it. Okay, so we put in the GPA of 181. Okay, I'm just triple checking, make sure I got this. And my pre-bid would be $43, so I'm going to go ahead and bid on that. Confirm the bid. And I've been outbid. That's okay. That adds that tracker so that I know that a book that I was interested in is coming up for auction. All right, so here's some other Star Wars. There's quite a few. Okay, so I'm into these, so bear with me. Here's a Star Wars number 9, same thing, in a 9.6 white pages. Let's look at the presentation. Now this one is definitely off-center in the slab. Right? You can see the label going across, and then for some reason it shifted in the slab. You'll see this with CGC books sometimes, so I'm not buying that one. Here is Star Wars 14. Really nice looking copy in a 9.8. Let's look at this one. Is there anything super significant? Carmine Infantino and Terry Austin cover and art. That's cool. Very nice wrapping and presentation. Great colors. Really just shows. Again, I noticed this too. This is what I'm talking about with my pressing. Like, see this line? I still don't know if this is some sort of reflection in the auction item photo, but it just reminds me of like some sort of pressing, like leftover pressing stuff. So no, this is not a perfect wrap, but I am forgiving when the cover wraps around the back as long as stuff isn't cut off. So you'll see, like, you can still see the S in Star Wars. You can still see the price. If this said Tar Wars and was that badly wrapped, I'd move on. But I don't mind this because we're all looking at the front cover. So what does this go for in a 9.8? We'll jump back to GPA. With GPA, just a little shortcut. You can update the last set of numbers, sequence of numbers in the URL, and that's the book titles instead of using the dropdown. So a 9.8 is dropping 229, 5 sales over 90 days, 216 was the last sale. So I'll clone this, copy the URL. There we go, 9.8. Copy the description. And a 9.8, 229 is the GPA value I'm going to assign. Get rid of those comments. That was only applicable to Spider-Woman number 1. Okay, so this is 9.8 white pages. $53 or $54 would be the pre-bid. Target is 135, putting this at 162. Again, 162, a lot less than 229. And you'll see my bid max is now working where, and these are all CGC, so I'll show you an example here. My bid max on these, and then the column K, this means don't bid more than what the book is worth, essentially. So this is a max range that I'm willing to go up to, only because that's what matches GPA. So this is what I fixed in the formula. As you can see, if it's a CGC graded book, white pages or not, then that is what my max bid will be, so that when Heritage applies the buyer's premium, it's not more than my GPA. But now if you go up here to this row, Fantastic Four 36 and a 4.5 raw, you'll notice that my bid max is 165, putting the buyer's premium at 198. And what I've done is I've factored out my cost or my trouble to get this book graded. So if it was returned to me as a 4.5 and I simply turned it right around and shipped it out to CGC for grading, by the time I would get it back, I would have spent roughly $225. Now, plus or minus a few bucks here or there for shipping and some other things, right? The $5 handling charge. I don't have every specific penny down to the penny put in here. But again, these are just guides and estimates. I wouldn't pay $166 for this in a 4.5 anyway. It's just a range. Okay, so Star Wars 14, that one's locked in. I'll be watching that. That one will probably go tomorrow on Monday because they go alphabetically. All right, and bear with me, more Star Wars goodness. Interesting here, this is an 8.0 white pages signature series. Key book. Let's blow this one up and take a look. So this is the first appearance of Valance. This is the bounty hunter in the current Star Wars bounty hunter series. Signed, so this is dual signed Simonson and Palmer. Look at that big Simonson signature down at the bottom. Palmer in gold. I wish they both were gold, matching colors, but it's okay. There's different colors in the book. That's pretty cool. Look at the wrapping on this too. It's not bad. Let's look at the back. So probably some color rubbing, some dirt on the side. But that's a pretty cool book. That's a key Star Wars book, along with white paper. It's too bad it's an 8. It really looks like it's just the cover just had some dirt all over it. Looks pretty crispy otherwise. Corners. Yeah. So just from a presentation perspective, I like this book. I mean, except for that 8.0 right there. So let's look. Star Wars 16. Do they even have a signature series 8.0 in here? This will be interesting. I don't want to say the book is unique. It's not a one of one, but let's see. Here's a signed by Simonson 9.6 for 116. 9.4 signed by Simonson. Really? $12, 2005. It doesn't count. 9.2, 96. So here's the same book probably. Sold for $37 in 2019. I wonder if it is the same. Let me pop this out and see. I'm curious to see if this is the same book just coming back around. So there's the cert number. Yep. 13260. 13260220001. So this is the same book. This is what I love about GPA. It's tracking that cert number. So this book sold in 2019. This the same book sold twice, for $25 and for $37. Huh. Interesting. And the current bid is already 17, making it $36. So it's right at that sale, or the high from 2019. So if you factor in the last couple of years, man, it's pretty much right there in terms of price and value. Huh. Well, I've spent a lot of time looking into it, so I want to track it. Do I want to buy this copy? Probably not. Just the 8.0. I do like that it's white pages. But now I'm just curious to see if people bid this up to 100 without really understanding the data. So this one's more of a curiosity to see what it'll end up going for. So I'm going to give it a $37 GPA value, which again, it's going to be weird in here because of the buyer's premium. Telling me that my bid target is $22. I don't even want to bid on it, I don't think. Let's see here. Same book sold twice in 2019. So this is, I don't know why somebody keeps trying to sell this book. It keeps changing hands. So again, this is more this is more from entertainment, for entertainment's sake, I would say, to see what this book will end up at. Just to see if people, one of two things will happen. It'll either go live, no one will touch it, and it just ends. Or, like I've said in other videos, sometimes people look at this and go, oh, $17, will it, to get those two signatures from CGC right now, even if it is an 8.0, it's going to cost you like $75 plus the cost to slab it, blah, blah, blah. And you just see like $18, $19, $20. People will just start sort of FOMOing the CGC cost into the book and factoring that in to pump it up without realizing that really nobody wants this book. So that's really more what I'm doing. It's just for entertainment's sake. Who knows? If it's sitting at 17, maybe I drop 18 at the last second and get it, and that's what it's selling for anyway. Moving on. Star Wars 23, 9.8 white pages, already up to $125. Again, just as a Star Wars fan, I want to see what these go for without tracking them yet. Probably out of my price range or interest for this specific book. Yeah, $317 90-day. I'd rather spend my money on something else. Star Wars 37, probably the same thing. 9.8. Love that they're white pages, but a little too much. 159 trending down, 132 last sold. Let's take a look. Vader versus Skywalker. Carmine Infantino cover. Is it the best Star Wars cover I've ever seen? No. Wrapping's pretty good. It's centered in the slab. I'll track it. Only because it's Star Wars, which again, that's where the groaning comes in. It's like, okay, you're just buying it because it says Star Wars on it. I'm like, yeah, kind of. 9.8 CGC. And close this out. Yeah, the thing is the current bit's already way up there. Oh, I forgot the description. So this one might just be for entertainment's sake again, because I think it's already above the value. So I have this GPA 9.8 for 159, trending down. Last sold 132. So 159, last sold 152. So my target bid of 93, max of 132, it's already above that at 110. So it's already above my target. So I'm not going to buy the book, but I am interested in just seeing where it goes. Star Wars 42, 9.6 white pages. This is going to be a fun one to watch as it goes live. Not a book I can afford. I don't know if that'll get up to 1,000 or not. We'll see. Star Wars 52, 9.8 off-white. I'm not buying a 9.8 off-white. Not interested. 9.8 white for Star Wars 59. Let's see. A lot of Star Wars in this auction. Star Wars 59. 9.8. Trending up at 137. Last sold 129. Let's look at this one. So this is more Simonson. It does have a first appearance in here. Kind of a sucker for Simonson art. Just chaos on the cover. Looks a little bit miswrapped, but I don't mind it too much. Yeah, just slightly miswrapped. It looked a little off center there in the cover, but not too bad. Cool, like again, like if you're thinking about sort of your comic cave, or again, would you put this on the wall if you're kind of looking at it? Very interesting colors with the pinks and the reds, a little bit of purple. Got, I assume that's Lando and not Orion Ferret. Yeah, because it's Star Wars and Simonson, I got to do something with it, so I'm going to at least track it. Okay, 9.8 white pages for Star Wars 59. Close this, grab the description. And GPA 137. And I had a last sold. Maybe I need a column for last sale. Last sold 129. So $32, $33 will be my pre-bid. It's already at 110. I think that's above my target would be 80. So I did like that book, but just out of my range. So now this is another one, Star Wars 60. Love this cover. Just, again, Simonson, Star Wars, the orange. Star Wars 60. I have a feeling this is going to be even less in a 9.8. About the same, 176, 155, maybe a little bit higher. But again, it's already going to be above what I'm going to pay. I want to see it anyway. So sometimes I track books that are either out of my price range or I'm not interested in, only because I want to see the data. And I'm kind of an insane person, so I like to just watch the auction. I don't know if that's healthy, but I like to just either pull up on my phone, check in with the auction, and just see what prices the books are getting. I know, it's weird, but it's entertaining for me. This one, so I had 176, last sold 155. So I'm definitely going to do something here with this spreadsheet because, in fact, maybe I just add the column right now. Except that started messing with my, so I've got something in here. Yeah, there's something that's pushing data around that I don't want. Well, anyway, I'm going to make a note to come back and update this so I can have a last sold column. So this one, last sold 155. I think that data is interesting to me. It's another element when you're factoring in. It's just something else to evaluate when you're looking at the range. So last sold 155, 176 GPA. Again, my bid target is $104. This is already above that. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's at 90. So this one is still, I'm going to track it. And these I didn't track, just if the current bid is above my target, I'm not going to track it. I'll just look at it after the auction's finished and put in some data. You'll notice too, still column L and M are happening. This is the projected bid. And when you look at this sort of projection, which again, I know like Star Wars 59 is already over the projection, so I get that. It's not a perfect science, but it's a rough idea. So the projection allows you to see it and take a step back before the auction begins. So if I'm looking at Star Wars number 60, let's say, and it's a book I really want. I really, really want to add Star Wars 60 to my collection. Then what I will do is I'll look at this record and almost practice and say, okay, so it's most likely going to end at 130. What am I going to do? So with an auction, you have obviously the ability to bid. With Heritage, you have the ability to cut bid. And whatever range that the book is in terms of bidding tiers. So sometimes it's $1, sometimes it's $5, $10, $20. With a cut bid, you can cut it in half. Now it has to reach a certain value before cut bids come into play. But this is where you can use this bid projection to figure out when to use your cut, because you can only use the cut once per item. So if this book is sitting at $120, and again, it's above the target, but under the max, again, if take possession, that's what I was saying earlier, right? You want to take possession of this book. It's above your target, but below max, so you're getting it under fair market value, and you're seeing the countdown begin. You got 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 10 seconds. Then it's most likely going to end at 130, but you could cut it to 125. And then in a worst case, you lose the auction, but it probably jumped to 135, which has now increased the fair market value of this book, because GPA is going to ingest that into the system and push the book up. So in a way, you're helping influence the market, if you will, one way or another, or wait until maybe it's at 120, 125, then instead of bidding 135, you can cut it right to 130 and have it end at 130. You can use this data to your advantage if you're kind of practicing beforehand. let's move on. This is the Star Wars book with Boba Fett on the cover that's not Boba Fett. For some reason, people love this one. Yellow cover. This is probably one of the best copies you'll ever see. If you want this book, it's already up to $501 out of my price range. Last Star Wars lot. This is interesting to me. Just some random assortment of slabs. A couple of off-whites and one white, 9.4. Just not really interested in these. I'd rather have 9.6 white as a minimum. Okay, let's get out of Star Wars for a bit. Strange Tales. I don't really typically collect these. I probably should, but I don't. Submariner. I will look at some Submariner books, but these are starting to pop off a little bit. Submariner #1. Nice copy. 7.0 off-white. Already too expensive for me. Supervillain Team-Up. #1 white pages. Now this is interesting. I can already tell the wrapping's off, so there you go. But this is interesting. I started looking at supervillain team-up books recently as, again, books that were sort of under the radar. I saw a couple of people on YouTube talking about supervillain team-ups, even on Twitter. I believe it was Comic Perspective on Twitter was talking supervillain team-up. So I don't want to say it's under the radar because obviously they brought it to everybody's attention, so now it's on people's radar. But this is interesting. 9.8 white pages. I got to see if this has any recent sales. Supervillain Team Up. Giant size, right? It's giant size. Or is it just regular? There is a giant size and a regular, I believe. This is just a regular. So yeah, not meeting all of my criteria with the centering in the slab and the miswrapping. So this is where it's like, are you buying the slab or are you buying the comic, right? Well, in this case, you're both, because it's got the 9.8 white page designation. So this is just Supervillain Team Up #1. Last sold for $175 in March. So just a touch under that. This one will be more for entertainment's sake. I don't know if I want this book. It's been pushed already to fair market value, where I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm trying to explain my logic here while I type. So let me get the data in first, then I'll explain my thought process with this one. So GPA, I'm just going to put $175 for this one. And my bid target 103, it's already above. But I want to track it. Why do I want to track it? This is a book that you should be able to find for much cheaper, but we have some speculators talking about it as a book that could have value. So this has probably been inflated on the market a little bit. So that's why, even though the fair market value, it's kind of within range. Like, again, if I put in a bid of 145, that's really 174. Last sold 175. That's the fair market value. So if you want this book, then you could certainly drop a bid. This is going to sell for more because people are talking about it. These are the books that I try and stay away from if possible. Again, if this said 40 instead of 140, obviously less is better. Less, you don't want to pay more. But it's already respecting the chatter and the influence is what I'm trying to say, and that's a turnoff. So I just stay away from it. Tales of Suspense, 24, basically pre-Iron Man Tales of Suspense. I don't really collect those, but I will look at these. Here's Tales of Suspense 57, 3.5, 410, already too expensive. Cream, I really don't care what these are. If it's this cream, like the page quality's already pretty low, then these books are not going to last. They're not going to stand the test of time. They're just going to disintegrate, so I stay away from these. Not that I'm going to keep these books for 500 years, but still. I would rather look at something like this. Now, this is interesting. So this is a Tales of Suspense 59 in a 6.5 Fine Plus white pages. So again, to me, I'm loving the white page designation. Staples wrapped around the back instead of the side, which actually sort of helps the presentation in a way, that it's being held together with staples. Now, the M is slightly cut off. So what I do here at this point, I'm like, what's the catch? What's going on? Why is this? Is it because there's some cutting of the paper somewhere? A little bit of ink there, but in some cases, especially with the raws, Heritage will slip these in and there might be like a giant stamp like right across the front. So I'm looking at this one for any sort of, I mean, there's no restoration that I can see because it's not a green label. So that's a pretty nice looking copy of this book in a 6.5. Cool cover too. So trying to see. Double feature, first solo Captain America story, Black Knight appearance. Sorry, how did Jack Kirby do all of this art? Okay, so I'll definitely track this. This is a pretty cool book. 6.5 white pages, already at 180. So I just want to see what this book's going to go for. So 6.5. You can also use their high grade scan to check for this the slab quality too. All right, now for the kicker, did I just add a book? It's got some crazy value. Tales of Suspense 59. It's one of those, I would say, filler Tales of Suspense, so I can't imagine it being that much, but yeah, 9.8 is 6,900, but let's look down here in the mid-grade areas. So 6.5, last sold for 280, so 2 sales in 90 days, so just the other sale was above 280. So 302, and then I will mark that last sale. 302, last sold 280. Okay, so $71 pre-bid, target for 178. Already above. I want to track it. I'm interested. Am I going to bid above it up to 213? Or sorry, 251. I hope not. It's a pretty expensive book, but the presentation factor, I mean, if you can afford a 9.8, go for it. You don't need me. But if you're looking at Silver Age books that are affordable, that present nicely, this is about as good as it gets. 6.5 white pages. Pretty cool. All right, I don't buy old labels, sorry. I have weird things, pet peeves. I'm not buying the old label. I don't like how the new label to me pops, presents better. Here's another one, 4.5 white pages. Interesting. So this is Tales of Suspense 94. In a 4.5. So sometimes I look up the GPA first, sometimes I put it in the tracker. No sales in the last 90 days. Last sold April for 190. I gotta look at this data for a second. So it's like no data, and then all of a sudden takes off. So in 2021, we've got a low sale in January, $76, and then 115. So here's the same book, 76. Somebody made $50 off of this in 1 month. And then same thing, this book sold in April, and then 2 weeks later sold for $61 more. And then which book is this? Let's pop it open so we can see the cert. So I imagine there's not a ton of these in a 4.5. 197. So this is a new entry. So at least it's not the same book just being passed around. Slightly miswrapped. Oof, it's large color breaking folds. Captain America just laying waste to AIM there. First appearance of MODOK. So it's a key. I don't watch the MODOK show. I don't really care. There he is on the cover. I don't know, just great Captain America action. Great dynamics on the cover. Looks like the AIM agent is almost like flying off the cover. Really great looking book. Again, in the white pages too. What was the current? Yeah, it's only sitting at $45. I'll be honest, like if I saw this book raw for $60, I'd maybe see if I could negotiate. Like that's a decent price. I'm gonna track it. I might be interested in this one. Tales of Suspense 94. Grab the URL to get the lot number and the description. Da, da. 4.5. A little bit lower than I really prefer to go with 5s and above. And I don't think I want to put GPA as 190. I just don't see it as 100. The last sale value is interesting to me now, so I definitely want to track this, and I'm going to update my spreadsheet. But I'm going to put the value at 127. I feel like that's typical. This to me is an outlier, this 190. So again, you can decide as you're tracking these, you decide what GPA is. I mean, you could ignore GPA and put your own value, who cares? I put the GPA value in because that's what I'm using to help me decide if I want to bid on something. So sometimes I'll put a GPA a little higher, and maybe I'm doing that because I'm telling myself, you're probably going to be interested in potentially bidding on this book. So I kind of bump it a little bit higher to keep me interested. If I put the GPA too low, then I back out of an auction. Again, that's probably just me saying, don't bid on this. You're just tracking this from a data perspective. All right, last sold for 190. Let's get out of this book. Because I think that's an interesting story if you look at last sold versus average. So if you've got an average that is trending up or down or above or below last sold, and then it happens again, you can start to, and I understand like you're talking about 1, 2, or 3 sales, and is that really looking at the market, so to speak, but it's really more of just looking at something in the moment to see what's happening. So if something sells for less again, and the GPA I have is higher, and now we have 2 consecutive sales where it's lower, then obviously there's a dip, there's a trend happening. Not so much with that Spider-Man #1 where there's 90 sales in 90 days, but something like this, Tales of Suspense 94 and a 4.5 CGC white. I don't want to say it's unique, it's obviously not, but very low supply specifically in that grade. So if that were to, let's say, sell here for 120 or 130, then we know that that 190 is some weird FOMO outlier and it can be ignored. Okay, moving on. Tales of Suspense. Love this cover. 8.5, already at 165. Again, I'm tracking this because I'm a fan of the book. Not so much that it's the right price, the right time, but 8.5 white pages. It's in that ballpark, so I'll definitely track it. My day 2 is going to be busy watching these. Okay. Let's pop this one open. URL 8.5. I feel like I should make some notes that when I paste this in here, I should be able to pull the grade, whether or not it's CGC and white pages, because all of it's in here right here. CGC, VF, white pages. I should be able to say if white pages exists in here, mark this as a W. So that'll be something else I'll work on, because I don't like the extra data entry. You're just asking for mistakes here. Anyway, okay, now I'm literally talking to myself. Okay, 8.5, 207, trending up, last sale 199. 207, last sold 199. Okay, so I've got a pre-bid of 49 bucks. My target is 122. I think this is above already. Yep, 170. I'm just going to track it. So 170 is already it's right at GPA. And above the last sold at 199. So somebody really wants that book. Tales of Suspense, group of 6. Average grade is a 7.0. Really? Let's look. I don't know. Is that a 7.0? I get it. Average grade. So there better be like a 9.2 in here somewhere. Let's read the description. So yeah, that's 76 that has the tanning. 76, they didn't put anything in there, but this is where you have to read. So 63, very good find. 2 long creases on the back cover of 63, which is this one. Kind of see what something similar goes for. Again, it's a random assortment, but we know they're not random because you have like first Peggy Carter in 77 slipped in there. But here's another group of 4 sold for 132. It's tough though, like it's saying average grade. Oh, there's no way these are 7.0s. $61, $63, $76, $77, $82. The only reason I'm contemplating tracking is 86 bucks right now is low. Because again, if you're just doing basic math, so what people will do during the auction is they'll say, okay, how many books are in here? It looks six books, multiply it by 20, 25, 30 bucks, and then that's what I'll pay. They don't really look at the specific issues. Like, I'm not paying $300 or something for these. I try and shy away from the larger lots because they will get bid up. Again, just because of the quantity. and not the quality. I do like 77. Let me look and see what 77 is going for. All right, Tales of Suspense, 77. Not a lot of data in 90 days for any grade. Here's an 8.0 for 287, 7.5, 220. So again, I can't see that book. So do I believe it's a 7.0? So it's somewhere between 139 and 220. Just for that one. But there's no good data for this. I think too, when I was first tracking these lots and I would see something like this, oh, the average grade is 7.0. I need to start downgrading these because they really are random. I don't know where they get the average grade from. I feel like they take maybe the highest grade or the cleanest copy and say that's the average for all of it's not consistent. So it's definitely a gamble. But I do like the comic book lots because it is a gamble. But typically you can slip in. So someone will see this and go, oh, I see the Captain America origin book. So I'm gonna bid this one up. But the key one in here is, I believe, 77. And what usually happens is if I'm sitting here wondering what to do about it, I track it because I have to move on. And the fact that I'm sitting here not knowing what to do means that I am somewhat interested. Okay, so I will put 7.0 raw, get rid of the W, get rid of the last sold. Now, what do I do for GPA? I think what I'm going to start doing is downgrading these. So just take a full grade down and look at those values because it gets too weird. These books don't come back. They're all random. So I'm going to, as fast as possible, 61 and look at these values as a 6.0 or roundabout. So 6.0. Last sold 113. Okay, I'll give you that. And what I do is I come in here and I just start adding them up. Equals 113. So 61, 63. And if some of these other books are keys, I apologize. I don't have all of the Tales of Suspense keys memorized. So in a 6.0, trending up 190. Okay. And you can start to see like it just becomes too expensive. 61, 63, but that's a VGFN. What do I want to put this at here? I'm just checking something off to the side here. $100. Let's change it to 100. At least they call out that grade. Again, I don't know why they'd say average is 7. It's almost like, well, the average of the other ones are 7, but not this one. I don't get it. It's always, that's why it's just better to downgrade it. 76. 76 in a 6.0. Not a 7 as advertised. 6.0. $30, so basically nobody wants that. Sometimes I won't even put this in here because the 30 kind of influences it. So a lot of times if I see something like that where it's like, okay, the book is basically worthless, like are you really going to slab a $30 book? I'll just leave it off. And in this case, I am going to leave it off because again, that's just a throwaway 76 in a 6.0. 77 is the Peggy Carter issue. $139 in a 6.0. 82 and 83. 82 in a 6.0 and $40. Just gonna leave it off. So sometimes I'll do the lots, and it depends on the title. Sometimes I'll do the lots that include every single book, and sometimes I don't. So this one doesn't even have data on it, so I'm just leaving it off. So I'm looking at those 3 issues as what I would do to construct the GPA. Includes first Peggy Carter. Pre-bid 67, 168 is my target, and already above, but I'll track it. All right, so sometimes those book lots take a little bit more time to put together. Okay, we're done with Tales of Suspense. Tales to Astonish. Not something I collect or look into. All right, so Thor, not a huge Thor collector either. Oh, the Record's got him with a crowbar. Look at that. So I'm looking for either some Thor books that I know. Jane Foster is in this issue. Oh, man. Thor 173. Yeah, I'm just a Thor noob. I don't. My Thor interest picked up with Simonson. 9.4 white pages is cool. It's a bad wrapping. It looks like 5 cents on the cover instead of 15. Thor 178. Abomination. Kind of a cool cover. 9.6. .6 white pages. There's a whole bunch of people on the cover. Is it like a collaboration of some kind? It looks mostly like Neil Adams. I don't know. I don't like how Thor, you don't see him other than from behind, and he's dropped his hammer. Hey now. I don't know, something about this cover is kind of interesting. Thor 179. I'll just take a look. Again, it's one of those where if I stare at it too long, I should just track it. There's something about drawing me to it. Let's try and find the original Thor run here in GPA. Here we go. I'll save this title. Thor 179. There we go. Okay. Thor 179 in a 9.8. Last sold this month for $1,380. Holy moly. And look at the drop to 9.6. 204 to... Now that's it. So right there, that's going to make me track the book. That's crazy. almost 7 times the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8, and that's white pages. Do you crack that slab and resend it? Like, are we sure that's a 9.6 and not a 9.8? Holy smokes. Yeah, I'm definitely tracking that one. And I I've never seen that Thor book before. Again, I'm not a Thor collector. But I am excited about this one just because of that crazy, crazy difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8. I see these books on Heritage too, from the Oregon Coast collection, but they didn't get a pedigree. They got some weird stamp, and I guess it was because of the CGC kind of doing sort of their own pedigree here. Okay, so GPA on a 9.6. Again, look at this. 9.8, $1,380. 9.6, 204. So I'm putting 204. 9.8 last sold $1,380. That's just nutty. Now, the only trick is, maybe you saw this, that 115 is the current bid. So it's just slightly under my target. But would I bid this to 120? Yeah. Yes. That's crazy. So I don't know anything about this story, anything about this particular Thor run. Neil Adams cover art, sure. But is this 1380? Like, this is crazy. So 2010, 527. Oh, I guess just come here. 2010, 527. Then in 2018, 1450. This is the 9.8 again, and then drops 576, 1380. I wonder what's going to happen when this book sells in 2022. 500 again? Probably. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Enough of that one. Miscellaneous, group of 36. I stay away from those. Tomb of Dracula. This stuff's just scorching. I gotta stay away from that. Yeah, this is from the Promise collection. Leftover stuff. Writing on the cover, 8.5. I don't know. Those collections kind of bug me. I feel like they give a lot of this a premium, even if they're flaws. But whatever. Okay. Are we finally done with the second page? Oh, not yet. Here's Ultimate Fallout. Ultimate Fallout 4 in white pages with the Miles label. I'm not interested in buying a slab copy. I'm focused on the second prints at this point, getting those at a more affordable price. Love these. Gold edition. Nope. Werewolf by Night #1 qualified. New. Wolverine #1, 9.8, 9.6. I think I have a raw copy. I think it's a 9.2 or a 9.4. It's 9.6 off-white, so no thanks. 9.4 white now. Again, I think there's a lot of these books out there, the Wolverine Limited series. I have all 4 issues in high grade. I think at worst case, they're 9.2s. I'd rather get them graded first and see where I'm at. I do have Wolverine 2 in a 9.8 already. So it's a matter of just getting the others. But I'm going to stay away from those. I don't even want to track them. This is a book I love. It's really unfortunate this is in the old label. 9.8 white pages. I love this book. It's a homage cover. I think it's Art Adams and Simonson with Storm, X-Men. It's a little bit of a what-if sort of tale. there's something about Storm and her abilities, I should say, with Thor, the God of Thunder. Like, I remember reading this story. It's one of my favorites, and go on and on. I think the problem for me is it's the old label, so I have to pass. Adam Hughes 9.8 X-Men Black Emma Frost Virgin cover. Holy smokes. All right, Adam Hughes, you got me. Let's see if this has any data. X-Men Black Emma. Hughes Virgin Edition 9.8. I would say, would I put this on my wall? Yes. Would I like have it on my wall when my family comes over to visit? I don't know. It's a little bit of a cheesecake type book. Oh man, 119. Last sold for 147. It's already getting up there. I just gotta say no. It's too tempting to track that book. All right, finally, let's get into some X-Men before I get into trouble. X-Men #1, creamed off-white. Out of my price range anyways, but certainly a turn off with the cream pages. Now, it looks like there will be some raw books available that are going to slip in. So very, very good 4.0. Man. Let me load it up in GPA anyway, just so I can get prepared, because I will be tracking a lot of these X-Men books. And let's go down here. This is X-Men number 5. They're saying it's a 4.0. Last sold $372. 3.0, 328. So the 3.0 trending up, the 4.0 trending down. 305 last sold 372. So like I was saying, I'm gonna use the heritage grade as a baseline, or just an indicator of like, this is what it's gonna max out. Let me take a look and see if there's any sort of hidden writing or anything going on. This is the big detractor right here, that color breaking wrap. Here's that awful like curling, breaking, chipping, tearing issue that happens with these books. Staples look pretty good. A little bit of rusting. Slight miswrapping, but at least it's more or less straight. Yeah, I want to track it. X-Men number 5. I got a lot of books to watch in this auction. Let me get rid of CGC White. It's saying that it's a 4. Yeah, it's saying 4.0. My GPA is going to be 3.0. Third appearance of Magneto. Second appearance Scarlet Witch. Those are your keys, or your key reasons. So if I'm looking at a 3.0 GPA, 328 trending up, last sold 305. So I'll give it the 328 because I'm interested in the book. $62 pre-bid. It's already at 120, but it's under my target. track it. X-Men number 8 and a 5. Let's look at this. Has some tanning. Look at those staples. So, I'm passing already from the presentation of the book. It's like one staple's there, one staple's there. It's got the tanning. What's in the description? Yeah, no other indicators that there's a problem, but I'm skipping the book. 8.0 purple label. Restored grade. That's right, purple's restored. What did I say before? Green? Green is qualified, purple is restored for CGC. Okay, X-Men 11 in a 5.0. I think this was one that I missed out on. It's not too bad. X-Men 11. So it's saying, it's saying, Heritage is saying 5.0. I'll say 4.0. 176 to 254. I'm going to track this one. And I'm putting a GPA of 176. So $30 pre-bid, 73 target. It's already at 120. Moving on. Okay, X-Men 12. 4.5 at 420. Out of my price range. So here's a 7.0 graded copy. First Sentinels, which I just watched X-Men Days of Future Past again. I didn't like the CGI Sentinels. I don't need everything to be comic book accurate, but I'm just like, it's just a bunch of Terminator 2 guys running around stealing powers. I mean, VG 4.0 for 165. You're going to get into 3. I can already tell from the screenshot it's miswrapped, so not a fan. X-Men 15. Oof. Folded right down the middle. No thanks. 16. I have these. Again, look at those folds. Not interested. 17. Same thing. Nope. 58. I see this copy come up from time to time in a 6.5 raw. So let's see what 58 is going for. I feel like I've seen this book so many times. I should have it. I don't. X-Men 58. 6.5. Let's see what a 5.5 goes for. Lots of these books. 5.5 going for 328. 6.5 less at 324. Well, that's weird. And I don't want to spend that much for that book anyway. This is one I'd like to have, but I just don't. First Alpha Flight, X-Men 120. So I'm looking at this book, trying to figure out, do I get it? I have a source to get it raw in a mid to high grade. Do I just bite the bullet and buy it? This is off-white to white, 9.2. Let me see if I just want to see what the price is. I don't know if I want a 9.2 off-white. 9.2. Yeah, even this book's it's just slowly creeping up. Again, there's no news of Alpha Flight coming into the MCU, but Yeah. 9.4 white. Let's look at this one. 122. First Mastermind. Arcade cameo. Colossus is like super excited there. In the danger room. I don't know if well, I was wondering should I track this book or not, but the miswrapping right there, where no thanks. Okay. Now this book I like, and it is white pages. X-Men 125. Love this book. It's a Dave Cockrum cover, great rendition, Storm, Colossus, Danger Room stuff happening. Even Polaris gets in there with obviously Phoenix right dead center. So this book I like. I'm going to track in a 9.6 white pages. 9.6 CGC white. X-Men 125. I'm going to have to flip the GPA here in a second as it moves to uncanny. So a 9.8 of this book, 602 trending up, even though the last sale's 480. 9.6 is actually the reverse. It sold more than the 90 day. So 90 day 225. So I'm going to track it as 225. Last sold for 285. So that will probably influence my bidding a little bit. $53 minimum, 133 target. By this point, like the auction's tomorrow, so most of the current bids are already above my pre-bid. So I just hit the tracker. Okay. X-Men 126, 8.0 white pages. Miswrapped. Great cover, but just miswrapped. And an 8.0. 129, 9.2 white pages. This is the first Kitty Pryde, right? I believe so. Yep. Yeah, this one's got the trifecta: Kitty, Emma, and Sebastian Shaw. So a book I'm looking at, but really just kind of out of my league. Already at 330. There was another one. They usually list the higher grade first. 9.6 off-white. Let's see here. I want to see how this book is doing. I think this one, along with the first Alpha Flight, these are books that are slowly creeping up. Look at that. $4,800 in a 9.8. 9.6, $1,500. 9.2, yeah, even that. $750 for 9.2. You're going to start getting down into the really like mid grades here for an affordable copy. 6.0 for $250. So when books like this, when the CGC graded books get like this for a book that this isn't a rare book, it's just a significant book. It's when you have to just start gambling on raws, like paying $100 for a mid-grade raw, and maybe it's pressable and you can get it into the sevens. So unfortunately, I don't even want to track it. Same thing with the 9.6. Here's a 9.6 off-white. Nice book. It's really more for the cover. So now this is interesting. So this is something where if you see this, maybe in the playback, you can ask yourself, which book would you rather own? I love those speculator contests or whatever they do, where they ask each other, game shows. What was this? Not contest. Where they say, which book would you rather own? And it's like, would you rather own this really this 12th print of Ms. Marvel that's a ghost, or would you rather have this America Chavez variant that's also a ghost, and they're both like $1,000, even though they're not worth $1,000? And then they look at it and say, which one would you rather have? That's all fine and good for them for having those sorts of pieces of entertainment value. This is more interesting to me, what we're looking at right here. So would you rather have a 9.6 off-white or a 9.4 white? Now, the other subtle difference, this is newsstand, this is direct. This also is miswrapped. So it's now it's a moot point because to me they're different books. Look at the bottom left corner, Spidey's face, and look at this. I mean, it's terribly miswrapped. So I'm not going to even track this book because I don't want it. But just kind of a fun question. Would you rather have this in a 9.4? Let's forget the direct newsstand. Just say they're the same. Newsstand, direct. I know I'm just making stuff up because it's not what we're looking at, but 9.4 white or 9.6 off. This is where I think speculators, investors, maybe people who don't understand the hobby completely, not saying that speculators and investors don't understand the hobby, it's not what I'm saying, but they're just coming at it from different angles. I'd rather have the 9.4 white. It's more affordable, it presents better. Not in this case because of the wrapping, but typically you're going to have a better presentation on the 9.4 white than you would a 9.6. Just my opinion. Other people may say get the highest grade possible regardless of paper quality. Fine, that's cool. But an interesting question. All right, X-Men 134, 9.8 white pages. That's crazy. I have one copy of this raw. It's really beat up. So again, now this is interesting because I would say, wow, gosh darn it, this is miswrapped too. I'm trying to look at like two very similar books, and no, I'm not trying to suggest would you have a 9.8 white or a 9.6 white. Which one would you rather have? You know, I get it. All right, hold on one second. Yeah, like I was saying, I get it. You want the 9.8 white, 9.6 white. I'm not trying to introduce cost and all that other stuff. But what I look at, again, if this was a perfectly centered book, I'm interested. I'm not interested. But if I were, I would track the 9.6 only because you've got these two auctions happening one after another. So this lot 19887 is going to go off. People are going to go after this book, and then you're also going to get a couple of people left out that are going to bid on this book, or they might say, nope, I only wanted a 9.8, a 9.6 is inferior, and this is going to be left on the table. And then you can come in and get it, and you can look at the current bid already. This is 4 times higher than this one. Again, I'm not interested because of the wrapping, but those are typically fun for me to watch just to kind of see. Here it is, X-Men 136. This is in. I track this book because this seems to be auctioned off every single week. There's no shortage of this book, and it could be the same book just getting reinserted into the auction, but it is a 9.8 white pages. Oh, I'm sorry, not this one. I'm thinking of the other Cyclops cover. But actually, I'm going to undo that tracking because I don't like the wrapping on this. So my bad. I was getting too excited there. Let me undo that. Oh, and you can see here, I forgot to update the description of this one. Which one was this? So this is why I like to put the link. Let me grab this. X-Men 125. So I missed a step. I apologize. There we go. All right, we're caught up. I got a little excited there. X-Men 137, 9.4 white page. This is the one, X-Men 138. This is the one that's there every week, so I'll definitely track that one. Current bid 160. That's crazy. This book shows up every single week. I'd rather have this one. Except for the wrapping again. I know I sound like a broken record, but I just can't. I can't stare at that book in a slab hanging on my wall with it miswrapped. So this is the one, X-Men 130. Oh, look, you can even have a 9.6. No shortage of this book. This is in the Heritage auction every single week. 9.8 white pages. I will grab the description before I forget. This is, I don't want to say the book isn't significant. It's not significant from an appearance perspective. This is the end or the conclusion of the Dark Phoenix saga, where Jean dies. Cyclops is upset. He leaves the X-Men. He's sad. What am I doing? So this is X-Men 138. I think I have to... Let's see if this updates. No, we're still good. X-Men 138 in a 9.8. 18 sales at 251. This last sale, 312, is ridiculous. There's so many of this book, and I don't know. 251 is what I'm going to put in for the GPA. So $60 pre-bid, target at 148. I almost want to just buy one of these just so I have it. I can move on and not ever track this again. 170, really? Okay. Again, I want to track it just because, but I'm not doing anything with this. Again, this book, it's iconic in the color because you've got the covers back in the background with the pink color. But oh my goodness. Yeah, every week. And if you don't want a 9.8, there's a 9.6. Okay, we're starting to finish up here with X-Men. At least on this page. This is the Modern Age 1980 books. I like this book in a 9.8 white for 210. $649. No, thank you. 140 in a 9.8. $300. Last sold $360. I'm gonna hold off. I think I'd rather pay for a 9.6 white for this one myself. Kind of like this 9.6 white, and this is X-Men 141. I have 142, but not 141. So 9.8 is 1480. 9.6, 500. Last sold 384. Last sold 1200. I'm gonna pass. Just a little too pricey. It is a direct. This is where you get into that gray area with direct and newsstand. They're getting to be about equal in terms of rarity, supply. Oh, I missed your chat, Dragon Buster. Hello there. How about a 9.2 since we're on the page? GPA 9.2 newsstand. 276 last sold 405. So the last recorded sales of this in a 9.2 higher than the 90-day. Interesting. It's already got the current bit. I'm just going to stay away just for some reason. Maybe I'm fatigued with looking at too many heritage auctions, but I'm not targeting this book right now. X-Men 150, 9.6 white. I do like this book. I like the cover. This is where there's a lot of these. There's so many of these X-Men books, honestly, out on the market, raw or otherwise. Like, this one's miswrapped. I am getting a little fatigued. I don't have too many more to go. Actually, looks like about 10 more to just preview here. So I'm almost done. And this is, again, you start to see how I'm fatigued with tracking this. This is how the live auction gets. There's a lot of books. And you get bidder fatigue where you're just like, I'm just done. And it's alphabetical. So this is where if you're into X-Men, you can kind of get some of these deals late. X-Men 236, 9.8 white pages. I don't know if I want that book. 245. Like, if you're just collecting X-Men slabs, here's a couple you could get after. Rob Liefeld cover if you like him. More power to you. X-Men 281. How many of these are there on the market? 281, 282. 282 and a 9.8. First Bishop. Yeah, it's just... supply is just overwhelming. All right, so let me look at these lots now. X-Men Group of 4. Condition 5.0. So because it's a group of 4, I'll take a look at these. Let's look at the notes real quick. 13, 17, 18. Oh, and by the way, I'll throw in a 198, which is just, it's not even worth tracking. So it's really a 3-book lot. And again, average is it because 198 is mint and these are more like just barely good? There's some tanning there. I'm going to stay away from this one. I don't like the fact that the 198 was thrown in there. I think it's stupid, so I'm staying away. Let's look at this one. 26, 27, 29, and 30. That's a little bit better. Very fine minus. You can see here already writing on the cover. So I don't like that. What else is hidden behind these? I don't know. This is the layout. I wish they wouldn't. I wish they'd just take a picture of each one. But they don't. This one's 26 is not in bad shape. A little bit of tanning, just slight tanning right there. But overall, that's pretty good. I'm looking at, when I see these, I look at the top. And is the top cover crispy? Or is definitely has a little bit of tanning around it there. But not terrible. This one with the writing, that bugs me. But again, if I'm getting all these on the cheap, $100, saying it's a 7.5, so 6.5. I'll track this one. I will track this one. Okay, so this one, got that there. 7.5 raw. 26. $26 and a 6.5. So I'll compare 7.5 at $90 to 6.5, $90. So I'll actually put this one as 81, trending down. Again, I'm trying to get these sort of unknown grades. So I can't really see the book and examine the book completely because it's covered. So I just have to downgrade it. 7.5, 120, 6.5, 92 to 100. So I'm going to put this as 92. $29. $7.5, 140, 6.5, 77, last sold 63. So kind of split the difference between 63, 140. I'll go 77 on this one. And last but not least is 30. Did I get that right? 26, 27, 29, and 30. 30 and a 7.5, 150, 6.5, last sold 77, 83 is the 12 month. So again, kind of picking the difference between 150, 135, 83, I'll go 83. So I really took the low end of these GPA, but $333, 63 is my pre-auction bid, already at 101. I'll just track it. $18 through $20 and a 4.5. I think these are just going to be too low a grade for me. It doesn't indicate any particular problems. At 19, oh, yeah, now I see it. Right smack down the middle. So these all have, yeah, the fold down the middle. No thanks. Here's a group of 5 and a 4.5. Same thing, right smack down the middle, at least in 22. Yep, 23 has it as well. No thanks. This is a group of 8. That's too many. And a couple of magazines. And we're out. So that is it. So these are all the auctions that I'm tracking for today and tomorrow. Got some interesting books. Certainly some books that I'm looking at for entertainment's sake. But yeah, this will be split over a couple of days. But I'll probably watch this one. I'll watch this one tonight and tomorrow night, and see. Definitely want to make some adjustments to the spreadsheet. I definitely want a last sold column, and then maybe some other indicator for highlighting books that I'm really after, and then also looking at parsing this information to say, you know, if I can pull out and extract the CGC and the grade and whatnot, and see if it says white pages. I should be able to do that. So I'm going to work on that as well. Thanks for hanging out. Those that stopped by to look, if you're watching this on the playback, you definitely want to bump up that playback speed to get through this. It's a lot of work. I think I have been on here for almost 2 hours. So again, what is your time worth? That's another thing. I do this for fun, so it's fun for me. This is a good. It's just good for me to go through the analytics and look at the numbers. And for me, it's worth spending a couple of hours if I can come in and get a book at around 55% market value, especially in a slab book, just because you're just not. The auctions move so fast that you're either overbidding and overpaying, or you're able to get a deal. And with eBay, you're just kind of looking at the auction, you're staring at it, and you have a lot of time to really look at it. And I think when people get into the live auction, those pre-bid auctions are really meaningless. The prices, it's just there if you want to already put a bid in. None of those bids last. It's very rare that a book goes into the live auction and just gets sold at that price, unless it's just some ridiculously high pre-auction bid. The live auction moves so quickly, and most people don't have the time or the interest to do this kind of homework. And I like to do it, so I just enjoy it. So a couple of hours, time well spent. I will let you know in a follow-up video if I end up winning any of these and kind of what my strategy was. I also want to start taking notes, just like what happened with these books, how did they end up? But again, that's more time spent watching this. But to me, it's I enjoy this more than maybe sitting down and watching a movie, because I am a crazy person. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. Happy collecting, and see you next time.